Hello everybody, welcome to today, to this show, to this time, where we speak about alien, UFO, phenomeno, paranormal, spiritual beings, life in another planet. We have a channel, YouTube. This channel is called Angel Gabriel Ufos. Today we are going to speak about Mars. Today I think it's going to be fascinating because we have a special guest. This video program in the next days I upload this video program in channel YouTube Angel Gabriel Ufos. I'm host. My name is Angel Gabriel. I'm from Peru. Today we are going to speak with a special guest. He is from Norway. He is a good researcher. He has a radio show called The Universe Consciousness. He has books such as Spiritual Science and Higher Conscious Thinking. He was a pilot. Also, he had experience with UFO phenomenon. Well, today we are going to speak about Mars. About Mars, many questions about Mars. In the past, different cultures used to look at Mars. It was fascinating, always Mars. So in this time, with the technology, change the technology our minds. So we have many questions about Mars. How are you today, my dear friend, Aage Nost? Wow. So, many people maybe you don't know, they don't know about you. Could you tell us a little more about you, my dear friend Aage Nost?
You will be able to understand. I know this is Spanish is, I understand many different languages, but Spanish is not one of them, so I apologize for that, but I hope that you will be understanding English, and I know many of your listeners are, so hopefully this will be okay. I was born and raised in Europe, of course, and came to the United States many decades ago, or several decades ago, and to become a commercial pilot. And I got all my certificates and ratings, and I flew for a living for 23 years. We had a flight school and an international air taxi or charter. Also had an air carrier. So we had a lot of activity and we flew a lot. And the thing about it is that when you fly as much as I do, when you look out into the sky, especially when you're sitting at night looking up at in the cockpit, looking up at the stars, you see things that is not supposed to be there. And many pilots have seen things that is not, but not that many talks about it because of they're afraid for their jobs, or they are afraid of being looked at as someone that is not quite right. Then there's a hesitation there, but I don't worry about that anymore. I speak of it, and I have done a lot of research into the paranormal, both with UFOs and the power of the mind and the psychic and time travel and things like that. So I've been around for a while.
Very good, my dear friend. Today we are going to speak about Mars. I would like to read an article about Mars in the social media, in science, in many news. There are many people are talking about Mars. Mars is fascinating, so I'll read an article about Mars. Right? For example, we have a news about, for example, Captain Kane. He is an ex-marine. He spent time 17 years in Mars, protecting colonies, humans in Mars. Right? According to this news, is one of the most fascinating histories and controversial in the last time. It's an interview about this person, ex-marine called Captain Kane. He says in Mars there are humans, there are secret space program. He spent time 70 years. 70 years. Captain Grace says in Mars, for example, he says training his mission in the moon of the Saturn, Titan. He trained in Titan before the landing to Mars. He says in Mars it could be many races like Grace, reptiles, many. But this story is fascinating because he's ex-marine from USA. Is one of the many histories we can read in internet, but I don't know. It could be possible or it could be true. We don't know. In Peru, many people say, many researchers, people will say in Mars there are humans with aliens. In Mars exists possibility to breathe there, to live there, because in Mars there are conditions to live there. So many people say about that. But according to the investigation, my dear friend Aage Nost, what do you think about this article? It could be true or it could fake. I don't know. Could you tell us a little about according to this article?
Yeah, I have not read the article, but I know of this Marine. His name is Kane. I know of him, and I heard of a little bit, a short video that he did. He did not explain very much. He said, yes, there is, and he mentioned a few things that there was up there, and he is right about that, but there is a lot more than what he told. And the thing about it is that space is full of life. It is everywhere. And on my website, and I will give you the site name here, I have NASA prints of structures on Mercury. I have seen NASA prints of buildings and pyramids on Venus. It's a triangular pyramid. And we have pyramids on the moon. We have on our moon, we have pyramids there, and we have buildings up there. We have hangars up there, and we have structures and small cities up on the moon. And you can find those pictures on my website. We have also pyramids and buildings on Mars, and they're very clear that you can obviously see it. And we have also, I have also on my website, I have pictures, NASA prints of buildings and an obelisk on one of the moons of Saturn. So there is things out there. And go to my website, where is www.aage-nost.com. So it's www.myfirstname-mylastname.com. And you will find a lot of these pictures there, and they're very clear. In fact, if you want to go there now, just for the fun of it, you can go to page 59 in the picture gallery, and that's the photo album actually, and you can look there on that page on the I think it's 4th, 5th, 6th or 7th row down. There is a humanoid man standing on the moon. In the row below that, there is a humanoid man walking on the moon. And that's our moon. And then again, have same kinds of pictures of people or humanoids on Mars. So it is there. There are buildings, and of course there are pyramids everywhere out there. And on Mars, I also on the website, on the first page of the photo gallery, I have a picture of trees and vegetation on Mars, and those are also NASA prints. So this does not coincide with what NASA tells us. And I have these, there are also animals on Mars. And this is totally different than what NASA is telling us. See, all these pictures have been sent back by the rover on Mars. And on my website, you can see it. There is over 3,000 pictures of very strange pictures of UFOs and artifacts on other planets and other strange stuff that, and a lot of funny stuff also. So you can have a look at that, and you can really enjoy yourself on there for a whole week if you like, and read my comments and so on. And if we look at Mars, why is Mars red? At least we're told it is red. Well, it is not. If you go to Sedona, Arizona, that is red because there is so much iron in the ground and in the rocks around there. Now, there are places on Mars where there is a lot of iron in the ground. So, obviously, there is iron up there, which will make it very profitable if need be, or very beneficial to do mining operations. NASA has also put a brown screen in front of the filter the pictures coming back, so that it all looks like it is totally brown, with the sky is kind of grayish brown, but it is not. Now the pictures are coming back lately from Mars, from the rover up there. They show blue skies on Mars. Well, now we have a problem, because if there is blue skies on Mars, the reason it is blue is because it has oxygen and it's water vapor in the air. If there is oxygen and water vapor, then there is an atmosphere that is breathable by us. And also, there are pyramids and buildings on Mars, which of course NASA says that it's no atmosphere that we could breathe up there, even though we see the wind and storms, and we have sandstorms up there, and there's a lot of activity, and they admit that, but they say there's no oxygen. Well, with blue skies, there is oxygen. And you have these pyramids up there. when there are pyramids, somebody had to build them. And we know we have pyramids on Earth, we have pyramids on the moon, all the pictures on my website. So the same people built those pyramids because they look exactly alike, some of them. So with other words, since there are pyramids on Mars, people had to build those pyramids. And they needed an atmosphere. They needed a support structure like food for, while they were working it. So it's obviously that Mars have been like Earth at one time. We can see the rivers up there, dried out now, but we can see the riverbeds where they have been, and we can see the lake beds. We can see what the lakes was. So we know there was water. And NASA have now admitted that there is water on Mars. They found water in the polar region, in the frozen soil in the North Pole and the South Pole, where there is water, actually ice, so there is water. And I have pictures on the website of lakes up there. It's clearly a lake. You can see the ground goes down to the water, and then it's perfectly clear from there on where the water is. And then it goes back to being soil again, dirt. So who is up there and building these pyramids? Well, they're not building any pyramids lately, because there's obviously these pyramids are very old. They're probably at least the pyramid on Mars in the Cydonia area is probably at least 500,000 years old. At least that's the estimate of some of the people that have looked at the erosion and how quick erosion like that will happen. Hoagland talks about maybe 500,000 years, and I'm with him on that. I think that's probably about right. And then again, who is up there now? Well, the deep, dark, black project of the secret space program of the United States. They are up there because we have it confirmed. There have been, like this man you were talking about recently on the show here, he was up there. And how did he get there? No, he didn't come there from anything that NASA did. He got there either through a so-called jump room, or he got there through a spaceship that has a little different propulsion system than what NASA is telling us that they have. And this secret space program, they have been shuffling people back and forth to Mars for a long time. And the secret space program is something that it's called Solar Warden. And how do we know that it even exists? Well, we do know that it exists. And so why do we even have to keep asking for it? Well, it has been confirmed by the government that there is a secret space program. On the citizens' hearing on disclosure in 2013, United States Senator Mike Gravel said, "We have a space force. It is in existence. It is there." He confirmed that we have a space force. A force is military. And that's not NASA. Well, they're military too, they just don't tell anybody, but they're not NASA. This is something that the people at NASA knows nothing of. Congress, or most of Congress, know nothing of it. The people knows nothing of it. It is done and created by the money and the brilliant minds that comes from the industry and covert government funding. There's about $9 trillion missing from the military budgets in the United States. Missing. And nobody knows where it went. Well, I know where a lot of it went. It went to the secret space program. And the top secret technologies that they have built in order to maintain that space program. So even back in 1973, they traveled there under the Project Red Sun. The project that they created to go to Mars was called Project Red Sun. And they did go there by an ISV Columbus, that was the name of the spacecraft. They built a small base there. They was mostly for observation, mostly. And they found animals. They found vegetation, they found trees, and they found people. Some of the people were very small. Some of them were only 10 to 12 inches tall. About 26 to about 28 to about 33 centimeters long. Tall. But also some of them were much taller. There were some of them all the way up to our size. And then there are other races up there. They have some of the so-called grays. They are the tall gray. They are the decision makers. And the small grays, the ones that is about 2 feet or about 60 centimeters tall. They're more like worker bees. They kind of follow orders and do what they're told because they are more like androids. They're machines, more or less. And because recently we have found a fossil in Antarctica. That fossil in Antarctica, here in Queen Maud's Land up in Antarctica, or down in Antarctica, that human, it was perfect human skeleton was found inside of a stone. And it was right about 12 inches tall, about 33 centimeters tall. And it was a perfect human. Now, we have not seen any of this in the media, on TV, or in the radio, anywhere, because that would really screw up religion and the theory of evolution. So they don't want to hear about it. Now, most humanoids on Mars, they live underground. But some of them live on the surface. And I have a picture. Yeah.
Very good, my dear friend. So, but for example, there are many people who don't believe in space program, don't believe in alien in Mars. Some people ask you about how do you get a picture about Mars? How do you get maybe you get it's a secret picture? How do you get these pictures?
Well, that is very simple. I did not take them. NASA bring back the signal from the Mars rover, and they take the picture back, and they sometimes doctor it up and turn it brown or red or whatever they do. But there are people, that very smart people, that intercepts the signal from Mars, and they put this on the internet before Mars get their hands on it. So we can see the same picture coming from NASA and from these people that is intercepting it before it gets to NASA. And we can see that there are different colors. Blue skies before NASA get a hold of it, and brown skies after NASA get a hold of it. But I have the pictures that I have from Mars and the pictures I have from the moon. That is all NASA prints.
Okay, but if you could get in official webpage of the NASA, we can get this picture. For example, official NASA says, for example, in Mars there are spaceships like Expedition, rover Curiosity found water in Mars, but these robots, Spirit, Curiosity, didn't find life in Mars. It says the official webpage in Mars. Also, NASA are planning to send humans 2033. It's official about NASA webpage, but according to the investigation, it's real. This information, what they are doing with this official page NASA.
Yeah, I know. That's all for show. It is all just publicity stunts. Because first of all, the rocket and the ship that NASA is putting together in Florida and Texas, it does not have the technology in it to make it through the Van Allen belt. Dangerous for whoever is riding it, whoever is in the spaceship, they might cook themselves. So that will never happen. But it sounds good, it sounds great to get the money flowing so they can create jobs and they can look good and smell good and really have just no chance of success. Unless they build a spacecraft that has an electromagnetic field around it, a magnetic field around the ship. Kind of like what the German Haunebü 2 and 3 had. Then you can fly through the Van Allen belt and you could go to Mars. The thing about it is that NASA has no plans of building that, so it is only for publicity stunts, and they just want to make themselves look good and say, we are going to do this. They've said that, Obama said that also, we're going to go to the planets. Well, yeah, look what happened. Nothing. Because they don't have the technology to go there. Now, the secret space program, they are using these technologies where they create that shield, electromagnetic shield around the craft. So they can go through the Van Allen belt, they can go to the moon, they can go to Mars and Venus and wherever they want to go. Because they have the shielding so the Van Allen belt and the solar radiation will not hurt them.
Okay, so ex-President Obama, Donald Trump, they don't know about a space secret program. They don't know about space secret program. Obama, Donald Trump, they don't know.
Yeah, I think Obama knew about it, but he had no access. He does not have the clearance high enough, the top secret clearance high enough to get that information. Presidents, there are many, many things above them in secret clearances they have no access to. And the space program, secret space program, alien issues, that is way above the president. He will not get the information.
Wow, but I know that person, Andre Basiago, says who traveled to Mars, time travel.
Yeah.
He saw Barack Obama on Mars. This history is fake about Andre Basiago.
Well, I don't know. I like the man. He speaks. He put out information about Mars that is true. So I think he has some true information. How he got there, I am not sure. Or if there was through a jump, I know it is possible. Because Nikola Tesla did that over 100 years ago. He created a teleportation device right in his laboratory. But that technology, in the mainstream, it went underground. So the secret space program, or the military that we are not hearing about or know about, they've had this technology for probably 100, well, maybe not quite 100 years, because it was a long time they did nothing with it, because they could not get their hands on his research. But it's very possible to do this, because it has been done. When Nikola Tesla did it, they could have built that same contraption that Nikola Tesla built, because the jump room and the technology behind it is mind directed. We have a sender and we have a receiver, and the mind will visualize the receiving end to create the gate through which this, they don't think of it that way, but that's what happens. And you go through this gate and you end up at the receiving station. If that station is on Mars, that possibly could happen. But if he could have also gone there in a ship that had that shield around it. So I don't know how he got there, but I know he speaks of some of the things that is there.
Okay, so who are controlling the secret space program? Who are, maybe, I don't know, Jewish people? I don't know, who are controlling the secret space program?
I am not so sure that the Jews have anything much to do with it. They are involved in a lot of things. Their issues are mostly economical and control of people. But I think that the secret space program is probably controlled by an elite class of bureaucrats that is answerable to nobody. They do not answer to anybody. They are creating their own breakaway society, and they are well funded, so they can do anything they want to. And I think whoever controls them goes off the planet to an alien race. So the ultimate controller is an alien race.
Okay, what about Jewish people? They has any kind control about this space program? They know about this program?
Yeah, they might know about it, but I don't really know if they are involved in that. Some of the people, they may be Jews for all we know, but I don't think that they, as a nation, so to speak, is involved in this. I think that that's above their pay grade also. I'm not sure. I don't know. I just happen to know I have some good friends, and they're Jewish, and they're not involved in anything that is corrupt or trying to do any secrecy like this. So it is, I have no idea really if there's any involvement.
Okay. But NASA knows about that, NASA.
Oh, they know about it at the very highest level. But the engineers working in the laboratories of NASA, they probably had no clue, because they're working very compartmentalized. They're working on a gadget, they're working on a device, and that's all they know. They do not know what that device or gadget attaches to, what functions even it would have, or for what purpose they even create it. They do not necessarily know. They just create the device and hand it over to a supervisor, and from there on it just disappears, and they don't know where it goes. But the higher levels, they know.
So secret space program is another level. Is higher level than NASA.
Oh yeah, very much. NASA is kind of a filtering station for special technologies. Let's say that somebody have a brilliant idea about something, and they contact NASA maybe to help them develop it, or funding or something like that, and they send the patent or send their drawings to NASA, and NASA looks it over, and they send them a letter back stating that no, we're not interested. Now they have the technology, and they take it and they funnel it to the secret space program so they can use it.
But NASA could through our spaceship Columbus could take photo on Mars. They took photo about buildings on Mars. NASA could take photo on Mars through spaceship Columbus.
From what I understand, back then in 1973, the project Red Sun, it was started out, and they actually did this trip, but it was started out by NASA, and then they gave it over to someone else, which at that time was probably the beginning of or part of the beginning of the secret space program, because somebody else finished it. But it still maintained, as far as I can see, the same project Red Sun. NASA did not finish that, but they started the technology out.
Okay, according to your investigation, how long time we can travel with higher technology to Mars? Maybe 5 years, 5 years life. I don't know. According to your investigation, how long we can travel to Mars with higher technology this secret space has.
Yeah,
or they use
Mars,
time travel, or they use time travel.
I don't think they use time travel for that purpose, because that is kind of different. But the NASA says it could take up to 9 months to go to Mars. Well, that depends on where Mars is at the time when the 9 months are. If it is on the other side of the sun, then it's going to take a long time. But if it is on this side of the sun close to us, it won't even take very long. So it is it's an ambiguous, it's a little, what should I call it? They just gave it a number to make it sound good. But it all depends. It could take anything probably from 3 months to 9 months to get to Mars, the way that NASA is talking about it. But if you had the technology of the secret space program, it could imagine that you could get there in a few days.
2 days? 2 days?
Yeah, a few days. That could be all it could take, because you are not really limited to any propulsion system, or NASA would be sending you up there using gravity to get you there, and that takes a long time. And the trajectory is a curved trajectory. The secret space program, they can go straight line because they are using engines to correct from the gravity impulses that is coming onto the spaceship, so they can go a straight line to the planet, and that don't have to take long.
Okay, NASA could take photos in Mars through Columbus, but nowadays NASA says Curiosity says there aren't life. Why the NASA hide information? Because according to investigation, NASA could take photo in Mars. There are buildings, but nowadays NASA says no, don't exist life in Mars. Why NASA high information?
Well, it is all economical. You have to remember, NASA is still controlled by politics and bureaucrats in Washington. And the bureaucrats in Washington, they are on the take from the oil companies. So if you have technologies that will use no oil, that will not be allowed. Same thing why they are covering up the UFO subjects. They don't, because they know spacecraft from another planet is not using oil to get here. So if that becomes common knowledge, people is going to demand to have the same technologies for heating and travel and so on, and that will make the oil obsolete. And they can't have that because they lose their profits. So oil is the big reason why everything is covered up when it comes to propulsion, travel, even space.
So NASA right now can send humans to Mars right now?
Yeah, they could if they wanted to, but they say they do not even have the technology to go there yet. It's just like they say recently in speeches that we don't even have the technology to go back to the moon anymore. Well, did they really have it in the first place? There's much evidence to the fact that the moon landing was faked. It was a big lie. So you know, you wonder about NASA, what they're doing. But when it comes to Mars, though, Mars for people living there, it's a very dangerous planet because there are animals up there. There is one particular animal that is, it looks like about twice the size of a buffalo or a bison, and they are very aggressive, very strong. When they come around, they will attack anything that moves. And the aliens knows that, so they stay out of their way. And there are other predatory animals up there. There are snake-like creatures, and there is smaller animals that is very dangerous. And there's something that looks kind of like Tyrannosaurus. There's some strange looks to this thing, but they are also very dangerous. So whoever is there has got to be very careful. And Mars was like Earth once. Before they had atmosphere and they had water, and then something happened. And what happened? It's that probably about 500,000 years ago there was a large catastrophe, and they had an atomic, well, I don't know about if it was war so much, but there was an atomic holocaust on the planet. There was a great disaster. It was a nuclear disaster. Much of the atmosphere burned up because they had a lot higher oxygen content. See, here on Earth we have about 21% or less of oxygen in the air. They had well over 50%, probably even more than that, of oxygen in the air up there. And when you had a nuclear explosion, that ignited the oxygen, so it burned up around the planet. And that brought the oxygen content down to a point where it did not burn anymore, which is probably close to what we have now, or maybe less. So how do we know this? Well, we do know this. The space probe, the spaceship we sent to Mars, has measured the air and the ground. They found extremely high radiation. They also found a high amount of xenon gas, Z-E-N-O-N, xenon gas. And that can only be after a nuclear discharge, an explosion. And the evidence for that is that what happened in Chernobyl, Russia, they had a phenomenal amount of xenon gas developed from that nuclear meltdown. Same thing in Japan. A lot of xenon gas was developed in the nuclear meltdown. The nuclear tests show that it is much higher on Mars than it ever was at Chernobyl and Japan. So there was a planet-wide nuclear disaster. And still, there is life on Mars. What we call the tall whites. They had a large colony on the planet there. And they still have a planet. Now, Earth humans also have a large settlement up there, and that's what the Marine was talking about. And that's military and scientists and other people, support people. They're brought there on, they got two different programs. One of them is a 20-year contract that you go on. You stay there for 20 years before you can come back. If you at least want to come back, or they want to send you back. And back in the 1980s and 90s, there was a program called Alternative 3. They called it the Great Brain Drain Program, because the best scientists in America, in Europe, and other countries, they were drained off. They disappeared. And a couple of them, they were said that we are leaving the planet. And later on, the papers on Alternative 3, the program that brought them to Mars, was kind of, not all of it, but some of it was leaked, and it became common knowledge. And they said that they, in the 1980s, the best scientists from Earth, and they promised them great things, I suppose, and they took them to Mars to work permanently. So that's a lot of scientists out there that is working on the breakaway society. And this Alternative 3, I suppose, is still active and still alive and well, because it's they need more scientists. Scientists get old, you know, and they quit working, so they need to have them replenished, and that's probably what they do. So that's something to think about.
So you know this history because you studied a picture, or some people that could travel to Mars tell you, or only you studied the picture, Columbus picture, or maybe you study another species picture?
Yeah, and I actually, you can Google Alternative 3. Google that, and you will see pages and pages and pages and pages of stuff about the brain drain of scientists leaving Earth going to Mars. And you also see some of the papers that was leaked in regard to that. And you also, if you go to YouTube and put in Alternative 3, you will have a lot of education on it.
Wow, so interesting. So we can say in Mars there are strange animals. There are humans, but is shorter humans, no taller.
Yeah, I have pictures on the on my website about there's small people. There's a woman standing on the rock. It's clearly a woman because she has a long dress, and of course I don't know. You know, men could probably use long dresses up there too, for all we know. But it looks like a woman. And then there's another picture I have on my website, and I forget where it is. It's probably somewhere around page 50 or somewhere in there, where I have a man. It's clearly a man standing next to a big rock, leaning up against it, and you can see his legs, you can see his arms. It's clearly a man standing there.
All the picture are Columbus picture or another spaceship?
I don't have any picture of the Columbus. No, I do not. I've seen one, but I did not take that serious because I think it was photoshopped, so I did not hang on to it.
Wow, so interesting, so fascinating history about Mars. So there are a secret space program in the world. They are in another level than NASA. NASA is less level, but secret space program is higher level. Maybe the secret space program control aliens, no humans, aliens, right? NASA only has technology, but maybe could travel to Mars, but they don't technology to send humans to Mars, another planet. But secret space program have control this technology.
Yeah, I think whoever has control on Mars is a coalition, it's a combination of people from the United States, Russia, probably England, and maybe other countries. And they work together. There is no conflict between nations up there because they are one breakaway society. So they work together, and they seem to work very well together from what I have heard from whistleblowers and people that talk about it. And the only danger that they have is the elements and the animals. The elements are tough up there. They, after the atomic catastrophe up there, you can see on my website. You also see skulls laying on the ground. You see skeletons. You have wheels laying on the ground. I have that on my website. You can see clearly wheels laying on the ground, and you can see skeletons and square buildings. And then there's another thing that is up there. They look like glassy tubes that is halfway in the ground and half out of the ground, and they look like glass with ribs on it. So that is obviously used for either for maybe transportation of water, air, or possibly as transportation tubes. So it's hard to say what they're for, but they are tubes. And some of them look broken, so they're not used now, seems like. They're old ones. But they're still there.
Okay, so NASA, tomorrow, NASA, they will tell us about discovery about exoplanet. Maybe they can discover through Kepler spaceship, Kepler, a new exoplanet. What do you think about exoplanets? Science search life in exoplanets, but no search in another planet.
Oh yeah, there are many exoplanets out there. There are many planets that looks almost identical to our planet. And just because we think that maybe, it's too warm there, we could not live there, or if it's too cold, that doesn't mean anything, because underground they could perfectly well be there. And it's the same thing, the tall white, they live on Venus, but they do not live on the surface, they live inside the planet. So there is not that warm. So they can live there. The tall whites, they're about 6 foot tall. They're much skinnier than we are, and they have, if you look at their face, the eyes are a little bigger, probably about twice the size of our eyes, and they are sitting a little bit more to the side of the face, a little bit wider out or towards the side of the face. And they're a little skinnier, narrower skull on them, but they're very intelligent, and they are very family-oriented. The female tall whites, they hardly ever go anywhere unless they have their children with them. The males, they are not aggressive, but they are very protective of their females and the children. And the women are very protective of the children. If you walked up to one of the tall gray and touched their child, they would probably kill you. Or if you even touched them, you would wish you never would have done it. And they have, wherever they go, they have this little, it looks like a pencil, but it is a weapon. And they tune this weapon to a frequency of salts or minerals in your body. That if you tune it to salt, then it, because the nervous system has some salt in it, and it's a concentration of salt. So if they tune it to that, and they turn up the volume a little bit and aim it at you and push the trigger, then you will have nerve pain throughout the whole body. So this is something that they use as a weapon, and they could turn it all the way up and they would kill you with. So I think that A's being on Mars, they're still there, and they are probably working with the breakaway society of the Americans, the Russians, and the others, whoever is up there. And they also are, they visit Earth, and they have been known to be working with the United States military at different places like Dreamland and Area 51, or in the desert in New Mexico, and places where they have testing and things. So they travel, and they get around, and they come and stay for a while, and then they leave again. He helped the Americans build ships, military ships that looked like saucers.
In the space program, secret space program, there are working humans or only aliens?
They have humans mostly there. Aliens work with them more like for science and for technology, but the ones that is out there actually doing the work are mostly humans on the secret space program, because they're 6 foot, 7 foot tall, and they don't really like to do hard labor or anything, because they're not very strong necessarily. They're so skinny and they are frail. Their advantage is their mind, because they can communicate with telepathic communication when they talk to you. They do not necessarily move their lips, but they talk in your head. So you receive it that way. So the genetics, they have some of the junk DNA is assembled, and it has created or recreated that ability for mind-to-mind communication. Junk DNA, because it doesn't seem to go anywhere. If it was assembled, then we would have those technologies, mind technologies also.
Well, very good information. So we are interviewed because you have a lot of information for us, my dear friend Aage Nost. So what is your conclusion about Mars?
Well, about Mars, I would say just keep researching, and soon there's going to be a lot more information that will be leaked. After that, there's going to be a big upheaval and restructuring of the American government here, probably within a year or two. And when that happens, a lot of the information they were trying to keep secret will come out. So just watch for it, and go into the website where you find things. Go in and Google, and well, Google, try other websites, maybe DuckDuckGo, and there's others that is better at finding the obscure information, the information that is hidden, at finding that. So research it for yourself and confirm for yourself that this is really possible. It can happen. What I would say, develop your mind and go have a look at my website, look at my book, Spiritual Science, Higher Conscious Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness. It is on sale now at Amazon. If you go there, you will find a lot more information about what I talked about and how to develop your mind to do some amazing things. In the back section, I think it's the last section of the book, I speak of time travel. In fact, I lay out a method to do it. It is not as difficult as we are led to believe. Most people are told that this is not possible, but it is. You can do it.
Okay, very good. The next video program, if you want, we can speak about time travel according your book. You have many books, so interesting for us. So in the next video program, if you want, we can speak about time travel, about your books, about spiritual science, if you want.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay, so the time is here in Peru is 12 a.m. It's a middle of the night. So thanks a lot for the interview. Thanks a lot for share your information. I think it's a good information. In the future, many people, many researchers, I think they listen this video program. They can have more knowledge about the moon, about Mars. I think this video program is so interesting. We can have more consciousness about our universe. So yeah. Thank you a lot, my dear friend Aage. Tell us the last words, your last words for maybe for researchers.
Yeah, and get your hands on a fourth generation night vision goggles, and you will see UFOs all the time.
Okay, my dear friend. Good night. Good night. Have a good rest. See you in next video program.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. It was fun.